Want to go ahead and warn you guys that next up we're talking about Dr. Stone season 2 episode 10. So if you have not seen it, have not watched it, that is not on your radar, then this is your warning. Spoilers are ahead. We will be talking about season 2 episode 10 in detail, so you have been warned.
Yeah, so season 2, episode 10 of Dr. Stone.
Humanity's strongest tag team. And when I tell you that this episode was so satisfying, because to know Dr. Stone is to know that Senku and... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to know Dr. Stone is to know this show started off with like an impossible struggle of them trying to get people out the stone, and Senku, woke up, I forgot his name. Tsukasa or whatever, and things went awry from that point on. They had completely differing opinions and different philosophies, and then to see them turn it all around, and for Senku to bring back Tsukasa's little sister, and then see them fight an enemy together as a team, one using, their strength and the other one using science, and them trusting each other. It was just like, it's something you would have never expected.
Yeah.
Like, you would have expected I'm mixing anime now. Tsukasa to be like the villain for like the whole series, but instead, after this war thing, they've really come together and they actually took out an opponent together.
Yeah, and what I really like about Senku and Tsukasa is that they show... Okay, and this is going to be, I guess, a strange comparison, but to know me is to know that I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I feel like it's one of the best animations that I've ever seen, bar no demographic, like whether it be cartoons or anime. It's top tier, right? But that being said, I feel like the relationship between Senku and Tsukasa is kind of like the relationship between Aang and Zuko. Like, there's a moment where Aang is like talking to Zuko, he was like, if we had been born in a different generation and there wasn't this war going on, then you and I probably would have been friends, right? Yeah. And then, of course, later on, Zuko makes good on that. But I like how in this anime, like Senku and Tsukasa, at the very beginning, they show that, had we met each other under different circumstances, we probably would have been friends. We probably would have gotten along. And the only difference is that Tsukasa, they lived very different lives, where Senku lived one of science and pretty much of fairness with opportunity, where everybody was important, and he made those friends in Taiju and I forgot the girl, but
Yuzihara.
Yuzihara.
I can't say her name.
I think it's Yuzihara. And how he made friends who cared about him and mattered to him. Tsukasa didn't have that, and so he grew up in a world that was much tougher, much rougher, where there were the haves and the have-nots. And because of that, his sister was going to die had he not done what he done. They would have taken her off of life support and she would have been just straight up dead.
Yeah.
And because he came from that world, he was like, I don't want to bring back the people who decided that she wasn't worth living. Yeah. And honestly, you can't get mad at him for that. But then Senku was like, science is equal. It doesn't choose favorites.
Yeah.
We have to save everybody. We're not going to pick and
choose who to save. We might pick and choose in order based off, logic or whatever, but we're saving everybody. We're not killing anybody.
Exactly. And I like how in this episode, none of that mattered, because at the end of the day, Senku is a good guy and he follows through on his word, and Tsukasa is a good guy at the end of the day and he follows through on his word. And he was like, I made a promise that you were never going to get hurt, and I'll be damned if I go back on that promise again.
Yeah, I'm not going to go back on that promise a second time. The first time I made you that promise, and you didn't have to worry about hurt from anybody other than me. But now, you know what? I'm gonna keep that promise, and I'm not gonna be the one to hurt you either. I mean, I already killed you once, so I mean, what's
right?
I mean, I killed you once, it didn't take, so why keep trying?
Why keep trying?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so we get to see them tag team, and you get to see the fist bump, and I guess you get this feeling of what could have been. Like, it's a high intensity fight, and you definitely want them to win, but you also get this feeling of what could have been, what might have been, you know, had they worked together the entire time, because truly they would have been unstoppable if they were on the same side. And it was just a really
think
good
about
fight.
how much further along they would have been if they had been working together instead of doing all this planning stuff to fight against each other.
Yeah, it'd be a completely different world, but you know, that's how it boils down. Because what I also liked about Tsukasa is that he didn't change his nature. He was always like, this is just a truce. We will never see eye to eye on how this should go. So even if we're not at war with each other right now, this is not going to last, you know? And it's a really good episode. I'm a big fan of Dr. Stone because I'm a big fan of like science and character and
I like how
development.
Senku told Spear Dude, that's what I'm gonna call him, Spear Dude. Yoga. I like how he told him, hey, I have enough power in my finger to beat you, and then he literally beat him with his finger, you know?
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact, spoilers, but despite the fact that it was like a high voltage taser at the end of his finger.
Hey, that was the end of his finger. I mean, it's cool. It's still one finger. He did that, and he shocked him real good.
He did. But I think that's pretty much all that I really wanted to say about Dr. Stone. It's just like, this was a really good episode, and I liked how they drew the relationship between Senku and Tsukasa. And if you're not watching it and you listen to this section of the podcast anyway because you're a rebel and I like your spirit, then you should go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But that's it for the Dr. Stone stuff. Next up, we're talking about Reincarnated as a Slime, episode 34.